Check, check, check. Okay, we're live. All right. What's going on, everybody? This is J. Marie Poetry. I am owner of Dirty Words Apparel, and I've got with me my co-host, Brandy, owner of BK Pleasure Palace. One second.
Hey y'all, I'm Brandy with Bedroom Candy. I'm an independent bedroom candy consultant. I am also the co-host, like you said, of the Dirty Pleasure Show. While we get that together, we hope you guys enjoy tonight's show. It's going to be a good one, I think. What you think?
Yes, and thank you for letting me get that together. I'm to cut down the audio on the other screen we're watching here. We're trying to make sure we keep ourselves on point. We want to introduce some of our return guests back to the scene. We got Adam. He's going to be coming up to give us his take on some things here in just a second. Where are we at on the chat? There we go. Okay, so Brandy, you've got the questions.
I do not.
Are they still in the chat? Okay,
Yes.
Adam dropped off. Okay, so Adam is gonna get back on here at some point. He's got some issues, looks like.
Anywho, we thank you guys for returning with us for our second show.
There we go.
I was thinking that.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you,
Okay.
Adam. Give me just a
Gotcha.
second.
Thank you.
Jay, I did have a few people ask me about how often we're going to be doing the show. I know a lot of people were expecting us weekly. We have decided to do bi-weekly. That gives us a chance to get our materials together and make sure our content's good and ready for you. So just look for us 2 weeks from this Friday. If we have any special shows that might be an off day, we'll definitely let you know ahead of time. So
Exactly. And we're doing that to accommodate everybody's schedule because we've got a lot of guests we want to get in, as well as we ourselves have a lot of different things going on schedule-wise. So we want to definitely accommodate that and make sure that we give you a great show instead of it being rushed and kind of seeming like we don't have things together. So going with, okay, I guess Adam's not ready yet. Okay, he's ready now. Go ahead and add him back to the stream. So the question that we're going to start with, well, actually, it's going to be after we do the video, but we're going to show a video, real quick video here. And I'm going to do a screen share. And give me just a second. We'll get this going. We're going to look at the first video that has to do with a young lady that was taken on a date. And there was expectations that she felt he shouldn't have had, and he had expectations that he thought she should have already expected him to have. So we're gonna go ahead and play it, and then we want to get your opinion on it, Adam. Are you all able to hear the audio?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
$100 for my time because I wasted.
Okay, wait. The nachos is $2.
Hey man, we ain't 6 carrying no one. Send me my money. Ain't all about your business.
No, if we gonna be all the way fair about it, the nachos is $10. The drinks for 2 to 10, and I got a water. Maybe that's $20.
Run me my money. Run me my money.
I'll see you 25.
Yeah, well,
Just come in and
give me 25 and get the hell on. That
You
was
was
it.
a girl.
Yeah, we get that. Yeah, the waitress was giving me the idea, boss. I should have bought us something. At least I got something out
Okay,
there.
you see this?
Yeah.
25.
Send that.
That's what I want to
Send
say.
that.
Okay, now let's talk about real quick. What about that video? Do you think she was right about, or that he was right about, or who do you feel is in the right and in the wrong with this?
Okay. The one question I have about that is I couldn't quite hear how it started. What exactly happened in the very beginning?
Okay, so the context of the video is the guy met the woman on a either they were on a flight to Atlanta or she met him at the airport. Somehow or another, they met each other.
Okay.
And he asked her out on a date and she accepted. So she came out to hang out with him and, get food and everything and all that. And at the end of the date or toward the middle part of it, he was insinuating that they should go back to his not his apartment, his hotel room. And she's debating, with him as to why he felt like that was what should happen. And he ends up not getting what he wanted. And she pays for her portion of the date and goes on with Uber. So was that a fair shake? Was that, do you think that was
Absolutely
something
not.
that, okay,
Absolutely not.
explain
No.
to us your opinion
Well,
on that.
first off, I'm trying to see how to say it, but was it if you were to go out on a date with was it you to go out on a date with someone? It's like you're going on the date to spend time with them, to get to know them. That's kind of the whole process. I mean, I don't feel like sex or any sort of thing along those lines is guaranteed or should even be expected on first couple dates or something like that. I mean, if we're on our like 10th or 15th date or something and I'm still looking like, okay, when am I gonna get a chance here, then there's a problem. But first date, I don't expect it. And as a matter of fact, if it was given, something would be weird about it.
Okay, Brandy, what's your take on it? Just curious.
I pretty much agree with Adam. I think that if that's something you want, I think that's something you should make known before you go spend money on somebody. Okay, well, I'll take you on a date, but what you gonna do for me in return? You can't just spend money on someone. I'll take that back. You can't take someone out there on a date with the intention of getting to know someone or just get, upon meet someone, then okay, I paid for you. So what you gonna do for me? Let's go back to my place. That's not how that works.
Yeah, basically, the way I see it is, it would make the this a transactional kind of thing, where I'm like, if it's going to be transaction, exactly. If it's going to be transactional for me, then there should be an equal exchange of consideration. That means you're actually paying money, not goods and services, but you're paying money for sex.
Right. Especially if you're meeting somebody out in the airport. Now, if you saw
exactly
a street walker walking down the street, he I'm just trying to.
But he's gonna be and say, well, how much is it to
Exactly. So
right. So my take on it is, I think they both had the wrong intent. Well, I don't want to say they both had the wrong intentions, but they may have had the wrong expectations, where it looks like she's like, well, no, we're just having fun. We're vibing, as she calls it. And I don't know if he's older or what the dynamic is age-wise, but it looks like her expectations were that she was just going to enjoy this man spending his money on her. And she didn't have any intention of probably hanging out with him past the date. And it looks like he was with the impression that, well, if I'm spending so much money, you need to be giving me some more time other than you eating up, the food. And as he was saying, he didn't even eat whatever he was intending to eat or drink or whatever the case may be. So it seems like they both had wrong impressions. Or
you see, what is it? It's the only thing I have about that. Like, I have a little trouble with that because I honestly don't feel. I mean, I didn't have as much context to the video as you did. Like, because like I said, I missed some portions of it. I mean, if she sounded like she was just ready to move on, like, oh, I'm done and I'm not gonna call you again. I mean, even then, there is no obligation to try and pay me back for that. It is what it is. But it's like, no, honestly, it's one of those things where I totally get what you're saying when you're saying that, if she went out with this person specifically just so she could eat and have a good time on his dollar, but really didn't like him, then that's being inauthentic. And I totally understand where you're coming from, but I didn't get that read just from the little clip that I saw. I mean, it just genuinely to me looked like, the guy was like, "Oh yeah, we're done with this date. So what now?" And she was like, well, "Wait a minute. Like, we're just hanging out this one time, getting to know each other. Like, I mean, I don't know. Maybe you got something
And
more from it, but I honestly did not see it's wrong both ways type of situation. I only saw him being wrong.
Well, I didn't.
but
Go ahead, Brandy.
go ahead. I'm sorry. Well, I'm gonna say you kind of got to be careful too with this day and age of people and their intentions. I would say before accepting a date, if he doesn't bring up any expectations, it doesn't hurt to ask him, well, what are what are your intentions after the date? What are your plans after this? What's the purpose of that? No? Who said no?
Me.
Why no?
Listen, the reason why I say that is because if I were to have a woman say to me, I just want to know what are your intentions beyond this meal or something like that, like or do you expect anything in return? That would totally kill. That would totally kill. I think a lot of the vibe there. That would be very weird to hear. I get where you're coming from. I mean, in terms of like trying to see, but I think that's just the type of person you have to like. I mean, you can't come right out and ask it because I feel like that would be a very jarring question and might have a person that normally is like, oh yeah, I'm totally cool. All of a sudden now ready to retreat a bit.
What do you think? Do you think there's like a right, possibly close to right approach to that, something that can set the tone, not set the tone, but kind of, is there a right way to approach something like that? Or, because it's kind of like you kind of want to avoid being put in that situation, because in the end, I think she had to get an Uber home, or he basically was like, well, I'm not even walking you to an Uber. So because she didn't give him what he wanted, she just kind of threw her to the wolves, like, well, bitch, walk home, do whatever. I don't care what happens to you after this point. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what's a good approach at that?
So, I mean,
hold on.
I was muted and talking. I apologize. So I wanted to now skip to the next video that I wanted to get everybody's take on it as well. And again, to let anybody know who's just now tuning in, just now tapping in on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, we're talking about the title of the show is called Check Please, but what we're getting into is dating expectations from the guy and the girl stance, and we're watching some videos. We're going to talk about some different things that we pulling out of the video. We're getting everybody's opinion on it. So you're welcome to tap in on the YouTube, the Twitter space, Twitter. I don't know what the hell Twitter space is, but Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. So we'll get your questions and try to answer them throughout the show. Next up, we're going to go to a video that is, let me pause it a second. So this is a video. It's on my actual IG, J Marie Poetry Music. So I can shoot you all the link in the chat if you want to watch it, because it's going kind of fast. But the gist of the video is the woman paid for the entire date, gas money, drinks, food, wherever they went, she paid for. And at the end of the date, the guy made her walk home because he felt like she should want to come back to his room with him. And she didn't. So he made her walk home. He didn't give her the gas money back. He didn't pay her back his portion on the meal, nothing like that. So this is what this is. So I'm going to play it, but it's not really a context of any conversation going on. Let me go ahead and share it. So give me a second. Okay, here we go. Trying to figure out a way to make it larger.
I mean, this looks like writing. I mean, you basically said what it was.
Yeah.
Okay.
They just had some different context around it that we wanted to kind of talk about.
Yeah, that print's too small for my eyes.
It's not. That part wasn't too planned out, so we'll go ahead and just talk about the video let me do a stop share so I can actually see myself here. Okay, so we wanted to just talk about the video. So basically, the situation was, again, the guy was basically giving free reign to the girl. Paid for everything. He didn't have any. She didn't have any request of him. She didn't require any kind of, compensation for whatever she was paying for. And I guess the way that he decided the date should go was, after she paid for all of this, now it's time to get in the sack, get some. So he felt like he should have been compensated. And when he wasn't, that's when you see he made her walk home. So what could possibly be a good reason to do that? Let me ask that question to you, Adam.
I mean, honestly, I don't see any good reason to do that. That just, it sounds like some really low class, like, idiot that really doesn't understand or even respect women was in any sort of way. Because, to me, that just sounds like, first off, I would have a problem, a very, very severe problem with, and, maybe it's a chauvinistic thing. I don't know. But I would have a very big problem with the woman paying for everything on a date. I honestly don't even know what I would do in that case. It'd be very weird for me.
I think it's weird. I think it was weird for a lot of guys, black men, white men. I'm not even sure if it was a racial type of situation per se. But what we were seeing in the comments, and if you take time to read it, and you had to pause the video, of course, but what we were seeing was a lot of guys were kind of thrown off, like, what's wrong with this dude? Why does he feel like that's odd, that's crazy, and this is why women say this, and this. So a lot of what the conversation was more in favor of the woman as opposed to the guy. And a lot of people didn't really understand his
I honestly don't get his
ideology or his stance on that.
I don't get where his sense of entitlement comes from on that. First off, you've taken yourself completely out of the, what was it? I would basically put it in the hunter category. You're basically the prey, and then it's like you're sitting up here now trying to demand something of the person who basically paid for it. It just seems really odd to me. It almost seems like role reversal.
Sorry about that. If you were, go ahead.
No, I just said that. I said all of that sounds weird to me. It's basically role reversal. But at the end of it, he didn't quite understand that the roles were reversed. So he's sitting up here trying to tell her, oh, well, this is what I expect from you. My time has money, or my time is valuable, or whatever the bullshit he's saying. Just all around wrong to me. I can't imagine any sort of situation in which I would do something like that.
Unfortunately, that's kind of the norm these days. That mindset thinking, sadly. I don't know why, but
I've never heard of anybody that I know having any particular experience like that.
Well, let me say this 1 second, BK and Adam. We got a chat on the YouTube that I'm seeing, and I'm not really sure how to take it. We got the little muscle arm emoji, but I ain't normal. And then woman pay on dates, and that's a question. So I don't know if he's or she is saying that this is acceptable or this is not acceptable. So I wanted to kind of ask that question back to the YouTube.
This is on YouTube
chat. So slap it or trash it, DC. That person. Whoever that is. Okay. I'm sorry if I messed up your name, but go ahead and elaborate on the chat. Adam, go ahead with what you were saying.
Well, what was it? I know a lot of people feel like it's a chauvinistic view to say that the man is supposed to pay for the date. I've had situations where I had I went on a date with this girl, and she sat up and she was telling me how much of a feminist she was and whatever else. And at the time I'm trying to get with her, so I'm like, oh yeah, it sounds logical. Go right ahead. And then it's like at some point I just said, well, I said, what the hell are you talking about? And she's like, oh, I don't believe the woman should, or oh, she goes, I don't believe that the man should pay for everything. I feel like she's like, I'm going to pay for this meal. I mean, that made me feel so uncomfortable. It was so weird, and I don't understand how men aren't still taught this. You know, if you're telling me, BK, that this is more the norm, I have never heard of anything like this. Like, you know, anytime I went on a date, I expected to pay, and not only that, it was like I felt like if the woman tried to, you know, pay or, you know, did more than just like, you know, pretend to look at the check or some shit like that, you know, I probably would, it would have changed my level of interest. I found that very weird.
So if she asked you out on a date, would you attend? Would you go? Or does that kind of make you feel weird that you were asked?
Wait, what do you mean? Like, oh, if she asks
Yeah, like
me,
if she initiated, like, you know, you want to
well,
go
okay.
on a date, you want to do this.
Well, here's the thing: if you guys are already talking, and you guys, you know, he just hasn't quite said it, but you feel like he's kind of beating around the bush, then I say, yeah, it's definitely welcome. I mean, okay, the way I always phrase it is, think about it, you know, in reverse, obviously, you know, like if a guy comes up to you, you know, and he's like, you know, he's sitting up here saying, oh, hey, you know, you seem like a cool person, you know, you guys are talking for a while, and then all of a sudden, like, you know, he's like, oh, you want to go on a date? Great. But if he doesn't, you still felt like, you know, he still liked you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would always say that if you know the person likes you, but they just like are beating around the bush or either don't know how to close or whatever the situation is, it's like you can help them get there, but it's always better than just asking them, hey, do you want to go on a date with me? And saying, you know, it's a much better approach to just kind of beat him over the head with it, and then eventually he'll pick up on the hint, I should ask her. And if he's interested, you'll still allow him to take control, but you manipulated the control factor. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But if you're just saying, oh, let's go on a date, you put yourself in the driver's seat there. And then it kind of like, but if you sit up, I mean, you're sitting up here saying, oh yeah, you know, my time is usually free. You know, you just kind of like making it a point to let him know that you're available. You know, I mean, and if he's not picking up on the hint, get a little more obvious, you know, rather than you know, very subtle. You know what I mean? But you kind of want him to ask. You know what I mean? But you want to get him to ask. I mean, so you can do everything to manipulate him to ask you. It's fine. But once you know that you've given every clue, every single like hint that you're ready to be asked out, you know, if he doesn't pick up on it, then maybe he's not really interested. And then at that point, you got to be like, well, what the fuck are we talking for? Like, you know, what's the point of this? Did you just want another friend? Pen pal, whatever, you know, something like that. So obviously it's like if the person you're talking to has not, a guy has not initiated and said he wants a date, then, and within a reasonable amount of time, I would say that person isn't really interested in having you as a girlfriend or even hooking up with you because he hasn't even made an attempt to see you yet. You know what I mean? So at that point you go, well, what the hell did you want my number for? What the fuck did you want? You just want another friend? I mean, hey, we can be good friends.
Yeah.
Seem cool.
Yeah.
Well,
but,
you know, but then you cut through the bullshit and you get to the point.
No, and I agree with that idea, but going back to the context of the video where she paid for her half of it, right? Because his assumption was you're going to give me what I asked for, or there was some sort of assumption that was supposed to have happened.
Wait, did he pay for it? You're talking about the first video or the second video?
The first video, I do believe he paid. The second one, didn't she pay?
I might be getting it mixed up because now I got too many tabs.
The first one he paid for, and then when he started letting his intentions known, she was like, okay, well, it's not a problem. I'll send you the money for it. And she did. I do believe the second one, she had primarily paid for the majority of the date. Because I do believe she gave him gas money too. And I thought that else was trifling. She gave you gas money to pick her up, and you still made her walk.
First off, the weirdest thing of that sentence to me is she gave him gas money. That is the weirdest part. Like I'm coming to get you, and I'm coming to see you because there's something about you that I value, and I want to spend some time with you and get to assess our compatibility. So that's on me, like, how I'm going to get to you. Like, it's not, that's just so odd to me. Like you expecting the woman to give you gas money to, like, if I can't go see you, then you're not the fucking person I should be with. I'm sorry.
Well, and
If
I
I
think,
can't afford to come see you, I can't pretend, and like, just wish and hope or have you cut in every time, I need to come up with that's ridiculous.
no, and I agree. I think it just comes down to a lot of times people have different takes on what a date should and shouldn't be. Some people, I will go to say, some guys just ain't raised the way they should be. Some women weren't raised from, young girls to teenagers and so on to grown women the way they should be. So there's some interesting takes here. I'm gonna show another video that and this is just to bring context around the topic, not necessarily for us to just be watching videos like we're doing instructional
I get you.
shows or whatever.
Jay, while we're doing this, I'm trying to see if we might have, because we have room for maybe another guest or two to go along with Adam. We keep putting Adam on the spot.
Oh, yes,
We do.
I'm going to try to see. Yes, I'm trying, Adam. I promise.
Okay, so now the context around this is there's a club scene, and I guess apparently the guy asked the girl, so the caption says, so she wouldn't give him her number, and he does this. And a guy posted it, looks like the guy, hell, I don't know if it was a skit, but whatever. We're going to go with it. And this is his response to her. You see, dude?
Oh my God, that's assault. He deserves to be in prison.
Okay. Now to talk about that.
So hold on. Okay, so before we get started that, this is what I was told about that video, because I watched it, but I didn't see like in big, like when she just like full blown punched him. I was told that he spilled that water on her because she was a transsexual.
Oh.
Can I say that on the air? But I could be wrong.
I mean, you can.
I could be wrong.
This is all okay. So a part of the thing with social media,
like that wasn't it.
A part of the thing with social media is that we got audio clips, sound bites. We don't have the full context hardly ever until somebody pulls out the whole pulls out or pushes out the whole video, whatever you want to call it. So, I can't really say what the real context of it is, but just looking at what he did and her response.
It was trifling.
If it was a skit, okay, I get what they're doing with this skit. But it looks like a real reaction. And
it was real.
Looking at his age,
like rejection.
And looking at his age, or if I'm the stereotype, he don't look like he a young dude. He looked like he may be in his mid 30s, early 40s. And let me bring it back. Let me bring it back to the screen. He doesn't look like he's a young dude. So to have this kind of behavior, it's a little different here. He looked like he about 36, 40 years old, maybe. Something like that. Yeah, maybe. So, but you don't know. But my point is.
So wait. Here's one thing. I'm a little confused. So he dumped the drink on her head right off the bat, right? Because she turned him down. Is that what it was? Or
that's what the context. Yes. That's what the caption is saying. So
she wouldn't give him her number, and he did this. Okay. Yeah. And so is the point of the drink that he bought the drink, or why did he dump the drink on her?
Well, I think he dumped the drink on her in a response for her rejecting him.
Saltiness.
Because
Oh,
yeah,
so
I don't really
I
understand
mean,
the context behind it.
first off, there's nothing that I could ever see that would cause for this reaction, from me. But the only thing that I could possibly think about would be maybe he bought her drinks or something, and then when he was trying to close, she basically said no. Maybe there's that, but I'm like, did he just randomly like talk to this girl? She says no, and then he shuts her down, or is it more like he bought her something and he felt entitled to at least get her number, or if she liked them or something like that. I mean, I'm not saying that would be right still, but I mean that would be a little more understandable. You know what I mean?
I think it's because she turned him down. Because
So he
if
didn't
you
buy her a
already,
drink or
if you
something,
already
and
got,
then
no, because I wouldn't see somebody wasting their money like that.
well, no, I'm saying like some people like
Because
generally speaking, when I used to pick up at a bar, I would sit up and be like, "Hi, how are you?" This that, and the other. Oh, what's she drinking? And I'd get her a drink. You know. So I mean, I hadn't established anything more than "Hi, how are you?" You know what I mean?
yeah, but because who really knows? I mean, if his ego is fragile on any given day,
Mm-hmm.
alcohol is just going to intensify it.
I get you.
So we really don't know why. We could probably say, in all, it was more than likely due to some type of rejection
Right.
because you didn't give me what I want because I felt like whether he got her something or not. Because a lot of times dudes will expect something for nothing, and vice versa. I know, but
No. What was it? I totally
she could have
understand where you're coming
just
from.
yeah.
The only
So
reason why I was
she could
asking
have
was
just
because I was saying the only reason why I was even asking that is because I'm saying maybe he felt like, oh, I paid for this, and then the same kind of thing. Like this is a transactional kind of affair. Like this is going to lead to me getting your number and possibly going somewhere else. But I mean, if he didn't get her anything, all he did was say, "Hey, how are you?" and crashed and burned. So I don't understand why that would be the response of pouring water or a drink on somebody. I get it if you paid for the drink and then you picked up the drink, like, oh, you're not gonna have this drink. But I don't understand it.
It's rejection. It's rejection for sure. It really baffles me that somebody looks about mid-30s, 40s is still thinking that that's okay to do. And I guess that's the dating scene. Like,
I'm
Jesus.
surprised people of any age would think that that's okay to do. Like
Well, I
30,
mean,
40,
that's true, but
something you should learn from your parents.
sometimes you kind of attribute it to young and dumb. I've never been young and dumb in this capacity, so I don't
Mm.
really understand. Thankfully, I've never had nobody throwing a drink on me because I rejected them. So I haven't had this experience. I can't
I
say
mean,
that I wouldn't
I've
did the
had
same thing she did, to be honest. Or
I've
worse.
had
I
when
don't
I've
even know.
rejected in advance, all of a sudden I was all types of fat bitches and ugly and this and the other. So I mean,
Yeah, I get what you're saying
some
there,
people
but I mean,
just
some people just small.
some people just trifle. That's the
Yeah.
word of the day, trifle.
Okay, now we try to bring all sides of the what do you want to call it? All sides of the argument, I say, to the table on this show. So I'm going to bring you all to a video that I want to kind of give a little preface to it. It's a video that is longer than what we're going to play. But those of you all that are interested, it starts at 1 minute and 14 seconds that this guy is talking about a podcast that was actually interviewing this lady who thought that it was okay that the date paid for her child's meal. Okay, very first date ever, that the date paid for her child's meal. So I want to go ahead and play this and let you
So
all hear her response to it
so
because
she was she
they're
was
interviewing
upset
with
that
her.
he didn't pay for it.
Yes,
Okay.
listen to her argument
Okay.
because this is a good one. This is a good one. All right, let me put it down. Okay, we want to do full screen here.
so many red flags going off my brain, but the number one message that I want to convey to y'all, man, is, guys, this is already stressful. You know what I'm saying? Like, mind you, this is.
I'm trying to understand why is it all of a sudden wanting to lag. Give me a second, y'all. Let me figure out why we got volume not. We're still live. I
Again,
don't know
y'all,
what's going on.
we're
with it.
still working it out. So appreciate you guys sticking around for us. It's gonna only get better from here.
Definitely. And sometimes the internet does not like us.
The first date. The first date. And you're just trying to see.
You know what? It's probably doing this because I'm running it and trying to do the broadcast on the same machine. Okay. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll kind of skip past that and we'll just talk about the context behind the video. Because for whatever reason, it does not want to show the screen right and play the video right. So basically, the context behind this video is that the woman was going out on the first date. The guy decided that he wanted to ask her out, so she accepted. And I think the story went that she was falling a little bit behind with her quote unquote mommy duties. She hadn't had time to feed her child or something like that. And she was already ready for her date and everything. So a lot of people brought up the conversation or the argument that, well, how are you ready for your date, but your kid hasn't ate yet? And then why are you putting it off on the guy on the first date to pay for your child's meal? So he rejected her. And she said, well, I know by that alone that he wasn't going to get the cat anyway. And this, and this, and this. And that's why I'm glad I didn't
Question for you.
With this guy.
Question for you. Was the child on the date with him?
I think the child was in the back seat, if I remember correctly.
Why are you bringing your child
Well,
on the date?
I've heard that, and then also I'm going to say, where did they go? McDonald's? Like,
McDonald's
that's where they went on their date?
went. Yeah. Well, no.
Well,
No. Well, hold on. That's not particularly where they went on their date. What they did was, I guess that was where he was supposed to stop off at to got the kid something to eat, and then I guess she was going to take him to grandma's or something like that. So the kid was going to be there, but
so they hadn't actually gone on their date yet.
Was obligating him to take care of something like the dad would, or the boyfriend, or somebody like that. That you've been in a relationship with the woman. She's obligating him to do that. That's what that boils down to.
Right. The reason why I'm asking was the child on the date, because I'm like, if the child is on the date and I know the child's on the date, then of course I'm going to take care of the child's food. But I mean, if the child is like at home with some responsible adult that could be feeding that child or whatever, I don't know, and not with you guys, then what obligation do I have to stop and I got to get something for everybody in the house? No.
I have to watch the video fully, but the context that I pulled from was her response. Her response was so unbelievably crazy. Apparently the kid was in the car and she was like, hey, my kid, not that your kid just need to be dropped off at grandma's so y'all can go on a date, but that my kid needs to stop off and get something to eat before they go to grandma's because I was running behind and I didn't have a chance to feed them. But there were arguments again where they were trying to find out, well, how is she ready for her date and the kid ain't ate yet? She dressed up, ready to go, plan this, plan that, but the kid ain't ate nothing.
She's ready for the date, but the child, I guess, is coming with them on the date to drop off, at grandma, grandpa's house or whatever. That just sounds all around. I mean, I get it. Sometimes as a parent, you don't always have the best coordination with, someone you're co-parenting with or whatever, even daycare, so it's like, I totally understand that maybe you're ready for the date and then all of a sudden, so-and-so didn't pick up your child. So now I have to go and take my child. Like it was a surprise for you as well. It's not like I didn't tell you I had kids, but here's a scenario in which, okay, I'm sorry, do you mind if we drop off kid or something like that? And then if you're stopping to get food, that's not an obligation. That's not an obligation for the guy at all. It's for your child. Why should I volunteer to pay for your child's meal? That would be weird, actually.
I agree. I think it's completely weird that she thinks that that is okay and acceptable to it baffles me that she thought that that was one of the cancellation points for him versus her thinking that you might not want to have your daughter or your son on the first date.
I mean, that would be a
And
cancellation for me. It's like, you can't even take care of your freaking child. How are you going to take care of, like, a
well,
relationship? Like, nah, I'm good.
I mean, date one, I think that's not appropriate. But if you're on date 10 or you get in closer relationship with this
Yeah, I
person,
mean,
then that's
you got to
different.
meet the children, of
Now you're
course.
taking on the package.
Right.
Now it's the package deal. So
Hmm.
we're not looking at it in the same way as the first date. And I think a lot of
Hmm.
times women, some women have unrealistic expectations around dating. Now, off of the videos, now we're just going to talk. Now we want to kind of understand what is it that you found to be an unrealistic expectation during the date or the dating process for you? What were some unrealistic expectations that you had thrown your way, Adam?
Unrealistic expectations. Um, I mean, honestly, I've never really had anybody well, the only thing that was like odd to me, there was this girl that I dated, or I was in the process of dating. She was a lawyer, and she just she wanted to be more aggressive, and she wanted to like just take over like the man's role. And I had to tell her so many times, look, there's only one man in this relationship, okay? So I don't need you like yelling over my shoulder telling me this. I said, you're not even a girlfriend yet, and you're sitting up here trying to tell me what to do, and you're trying to like, no, that's not going to work for me. So there is a little bit of a submissive nature that you want, but at the same time, it's not like I'm saying that I expect the person not to have free thought or anything. But I mean, at the end of it, it's like this was just weird. She wanted to control every aspect of the date, it just. I'm like, part of the dating is getting to know and trying to figure these things out. Like I'm not, we're not gonna have a. I don't know. It was just very odd to me. That was something that an unrealistic expectation I had thrown my way. But I mean, for the most part, everyone's been normal. Like they haven't really thrown anything too crazy at me, anything they absolutely expected. I mean, I had one girl that did tell me that, like, just so you know, in bed, there's one thing you have to do, and I was like, and that was go down, and I was like, okay, yeah, cool,
But
So I would.
it wasn't that wasn't unrealistic for you at the time, or was
No, I
it?
mean, no,
It
absolutely
wasn't
not. It was.
unrealistic. Okay.
I mean, at that point, I kind of think that's like par for the course. Like you kind of have to. Not that you have to. You should want to. I mean, it is what it is. It's just like if you're with somebody and they don't want to, like, do things with you, it's definitely makes it a little awkward.
Queen of Diamonds said 252 says this ain't getting dirty. I mean, you definitely can give us some feedback on that, or if you want to get in on the one of the squares, let us know. We'll shoot you the link. This is on the YouTube, by the way. We got people on Facebook too. But just to kind of reiterate, the show is called Check Please, and we're talking about dating expectations.
Hmm.
So right now we're on to the kind of the point of where we're talking about everybody's kind of wild expectations that they may have had during a dating process or dating a point in time in their dating career. Maybe we'll call it that dating career or dating phase. If
Hmm.
you're married and things like that, what were some expectations that you found crazy? So for me, I guess it's the expectation that there's one side of it where the woman is like, well, or the woman and man, for instance, they're like, well, we grown, we do what we do. So if you get down on the first date, so what? Doesn't matter. And there are some that feel like, no, you shouldn't do that because that gives him the impression that you're giving what is it, the milk for free, but the
Hmm.
cow or some whatever the way it
Right,
goes.
right.
So what are expectations? Like how do you take that?
Well, okay. I mean, you're the only thing that's a little confusing. So, I mean, I get that you're giving me that specific expectation, and I mean, there's that like my thought on that expectation is, you know, to be honest, like as a guy who was just looking to hook up and have a good time, yeah, that's a fun thing, you know. But I mean, at this stage now, I'm in my 30s. Like, you know, I'm not really thinking about just hooking up for the sake of, you know, the physical act. I mean, I'm looking at more like, you know, if I don't have any sort of compatibility factors with you, or, you know, we haven't had a chance to assess any of that, then you know, the first date, that's very odd and very weird to me. And I would just like kind of shut that. I mean, I might do it, but then don't expect me to be all interested in you after that. Because it's just, I don't know. There's just something about it. Like, just like you said, you know,
So
it basically looks like you're giving the, you know, milk away for free instead of making them buy the cow or whatever, you know?
Yeah, there you go. Okay, you knew that, you understood the analogy. I did not. So
Yeah.
we do have some questions on the YouTube side. And let me see. So Queen of Diamonds, she said when we were referring back to the which one was that? Okay, the girl who was talking about the meal, the baby buying the baby some food. Now she's saying that the date could have been twisted around, like you buy the kids meal and I'll be your dessert.
ah,
I don't know if that is that a,
That's a
but
transactional thing as well. Like, no, you're
yeah,
basically
that's
offering
kind of
transactional.
some sort of yeah, no,
that. No, okay, so that I think is something you do after you've dated this person for a while. Like if you want to do some weird
exactly.
shit
Yeah.
like that, then
No,
you're doing
no.
it well into
But
your
don't
dating
don't.
life with this particular person, not
But
first
if
date.
that's the case, then your child shouldn't even be with you on the first date. So
Right.
honestly, if we're gonna take it that route, then your child shouldn't even be in the car with y'all.
Nope.
And you definitely
Like you
shouldn't
said,
be asking on the
unless it's
first
been,
date to be buying my child something to eat. You knew you was
nope.
going on the date before the date arrived. For the time it
Exactly.
arrived, your child should already been at the babysitter, first of all. And second of all, I mean that's kind of spicing it up too, because okay, if you you might be feeling him, you like, you buying dinner, I will be your dessert. I mean, come on now.
That
But
okay,
yeah,
but
And if you freaky enough,
first date though,
no, first date,
that
no.
you don't
that's
even know.
if y'all have the understanding.
Right, right. Okay, I get you.
If you have an understanding, then yes. Because there's
Hmm.
nothing wrong with getting nasty on the first date. Y'all just got to have that mutual understanding. Like, I mean, because, you grown.
Hmm.
We're grown. So if you buy it on the first date, clearly you must be pretty comfortable. And I'm not saying, okay, you buy my kid something, I have to give you something. But clearly y'all got a level of comfortableness with each other that,
Hmm.
I think that there's still the first date. You should never be trying to play like that kind of game. In my mind,
Right,
that's weird.
exactly.
Um, but like if this is somebody that you've been dealing with for a while, then including that kind of spices it up. Maybe like if date night has always been, you got to take the kids over to Granny's house and da 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 da. You kind of want to make it not seem so transactional in a way that now you're dealing with the person. Now you know how you can use things to spice it up. So then that's
Hmm.
different. That's
yeah,
different to me.
Right.
And then so Queen of Diamonds followed up with a real man would have brought the kids the meal to get the night started and then let's drop these kids off and get it right.
No,
Okay.
it's not my attitude.
Is this
That's
Queen
weird.
of Diamonds that's trying to come out here?
It is
Okay,
what
because
it
I
is.
need to
yes it
understand
is.
who Ty Weezy is. Welcome to the show,
Tyweezy.
Dirty Pleasure Show. This is
Hello,
episode
hello,
2.
beautiful people.
Tyweezy,
Welcome to the show.
Tyweezy,
Welcome to the show. What's your
Tyweezy.
Mhm.
thoughts?
So, my thought about this whole thing is I'm a realist. So, I feel like when I talk to somebody and I'm getting to know him, if the conversation going to tell you which way the date is going to go. You're going to know if you're going to go just in for a little dinner or you're gonna know if you're going in for a full throttle. You know that within your first few conversations of which way you're gonna go. I mean, we just gotta be honest. You know it, unless you are a square, which most people are not squares anymore because everybody is nowadays getting down and dirty. You're not taking time
Excuse me,
to.
we are not always getting
Yeah,
down and dirty.
most people are not anymore. Most people are now. You're coming out of COVID. You've been locked down for a year and a half. You ready to
Okay.
get a little fun in the
Okay.
sun and enjoy some nice.
I mean,
Which
the
they
pandemic did kind of,
Mhm.
you know,
It
And the
brought
great words of
the
me and
hoochie
my
daddy
friends, we
shorts out.
call it hotivities.
activities.
Hence the hoochie daddy shorts. Okay. Moving on. We got another. Okay, we had another person. Let's see if they pop back in here. They might have been trying to fix their name on the screen.
Was it slap or trash it?
No. See the one 101? Let me
Hello?
see. See the
Hello?
one 101. Welcome to the Dirty Pleasure Show. What's your take on all of this?
I'm also slapper to trash it, but man,
Oh,
fuck that
okay.
kid.
That
That
is
kid
slap or
should
trash.
be. As soon as you walk out the door and you got your kid with you, I'm pulling off. Fuck you and that kid. I ain't buying the kid dessert. If you come off and offer dessert, well, if you buy my kid dinner, I'm gonna be your dessert. Fuck you and that kid. You offering your pussy for the kid already. So that means if
Oh,
if I buy your
okay.
kid this meal, what if I get your kid some George? What you gonna get me?
So, okay. That's fair. That's fair. So, you don't agree then with the video of let me see, this was the woman. Okay. How much of the show did you catch? Did you catch the other videos that we were talking about as well?
I've been here since the beginning.
Okay. Well, thank you for being here since the beginning. We appreciate you. What is your opinion about the guy throwing the drink on the girl for the number?
I ain't
For the
got all the
rejection on the
context. I'm gonna
number?
leave. I ain't got all the context. I'm gonna leave that alone. When Brandy said it might have been a transsexual, that might have been a drink thrown out of anger for somebody not displaying the correct identity. I don't know what to say about that one. I didn't even when I was sitting over here in silence, I left that one alone.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's fair to assess it from where we see it and where it ends. Okay. That's the
Correct.
only thing we can actually look at. What it looks like. And she doesn't look like a transsexual. Again, a woman, she looks
We're
like a
not
woman to
saying
me.
they, yeah, we're not
Yeah.
saying
And
they
I'm
look a
not
certain
saying,
way.
yeah, that they look a certain way, but all her attributes are there that look like a real woman. It doesn't look over perfection, whatever the word would be, over perfected or over whatever you want to call it. It doesn't look like that. It looks like it's a natural woman. So I don't see any obvious exaggerations to her looks. Let me say it like
Let's just
that.
pretend. Let's just say that I didn't say that that's the possibility. Let's just go ahead and just talk as if the case is a simple fact that she probably rejected it.
Oh, Slim wrong. Ain't no. Then that's the end of the story. He wrong.
Okay. So
Why do you think guys? I'm sorry, Jay. Go ahead.
no. Go ahead, because I get where you going
Why
with this. Go ahead.
Why do you think guys are reacting this way to rejection? Because some cases it's gone beyond throwing a drink. It's gone to harassment, assault, that type of thing. So what do you think is the common fact? What do you think is a common factor now where they feel that this type of behavior is okay because a woman didn't want their advances or so forth?
And that's directed towards me. That question.
Yes. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Set the
bottom line,
tone.
they just hold. They hold niggas. Bottom line.
Are you pulling it back up?
Yeah. I just wanted to show the screen. I wasn't gonna play it because that's gonna disrupt the audio. Um,
Hold
okay.
niggas, fuck boys, whatever you want to call them. That ain't. If that's the case, take your rejection and move on.
Okay. So I said I wasn't gonna click it, and I got the boy. Okay. Now let's go to now this one is an interesting one. So the guy he had the expectation that he was going to get some some of whatever he felt like he, deserved. He felt like he was gonna get some, and that's his expectation was, at least to her opinion, that was what his expectation was. He was saying, "No, I'm just talking about going up to the hotel room that I purchased, the hotel room for what I don't know, but to watch Netflix and just chill out." When does Netflix? When does Netflix not lead to?
I'm sorry. Can you say that again? I didn't catch that part.
When does Netflix and chill not lead to Netflix and fill and peel or whatever you want to call it?
Well, was it you read something before that? I didn't catch that. Can you read that again? What it was that you said?
Read something that came from the top of my head.
Well, no. It was basically something from the video. You said, were you like reading a message that he sent or something?
No. I'm just saying this is what his expectation was. If you watch the whole video, his
Right.
expectation was that they weren't going to end the night there with just paying for the meal and them leaving, parting ways. He was saying that no, he thought she should go back to his hotel room. They should watch Netflix and chill. And she
Oh,
like, what you take
that's
me
where that
for?
came
I,
from.
I thought you
Yeah.
was just coming in here wanting to enjoy a meal with me or whatever. And so he's like, I ain't paying for all this for you to just not put out, basically.
But
that's
when did we get expectations on dating in general? Period for anybody.
Hmm.
I'm 41 years old. I remember back in the day, you ask a girl out, you go out with her. Period. No matter who paid, and like I said, I've been here from the beginning. No matter who paid or not, you didn't have no expectations. Oh, I personally, every date I've been on, there's been no expectation for nothing at the end. Period. So I was just kind of wondering. This is fascinating to me. Expectations on anything.
some women do. Some women do. Some men do. Um, I think the woman that got mad because the guy wouldn't pay for her meal, her baby's meal rather, or Happy Meal, or whatever it was, any kind of meal before they went on their date. I think she kind of leads with the mindset that the guy owes her this if she's giving him rather her time, she's giving his time, whatever the way we're saying it. Now I'm getting it
Mm.
mixed up, but she's giving her energy to the date. He should be able to do this, and in my mind, this is something that should be not acceptable. It shouldn't even be something you
Right.
bring up. It shouldn't even be something you do at all. But unfortunately, there's extremes to that. But that's a woman who feels entitled to, like, I don't know, this is the way we were brought up, the way we think that, you're entitled to certain things, but then the guy doesn't get the reciprocated entitlement. I don't know what to say.
I don't know. Somewhere in the atmosphere in the universe, people have become selfish.
Mhm.
And they become selfish and they expect, what can you do for me type thing. No one, I won't say no one, but people really aren't into being genuine anymore, because a few hurt people has convinced other people that people are out to get you and use you. Like, you got people with 12 cents in their bank account and will swear people are after them for their money. They can't even go buy a Cinderella if they needed to. So, it's just,
That sounds
people
kind
are
of personal,
selfish.
Brett. That sounds kind of
It's
personal.
not personal. I'm just saying, prime example.
That was a cigarette. I mean, that was super specific. It wasn't just gas station. Okay. I'm
The
just
argument that was had.
I'm just saying that, it's just in general, it's just people now these days are just, people's, I want to say, intentions are just ugly. People think being ugly gets you respect, it gets you pussy, it gets you, mad dudes, I don't have no friends. It's a weird time, and I think no one's out to date to get to know somebody, to find somebody to love. I think people are just out for themselves. That's really it. That's what I think I was trying to say with all that mumbo jumbo. But people are just out for themselves now. Like, if anything taught anybody these past few years, people are selfish now. People are worried about themselves. So,
Well, what is it? I think that people have always worried about themselves. I think there was just there was a I would say a pattern of masking it, but now it's just become a little more just out in the open. People are just overtly being pieces of shit, or overtly sitting up here and saying, "Oh, I expect this for this," tit for tat, or whatever the situation is. You know, um, I honestly feel like it was something that was always like in the back of some people's minds. I mean, if you were raised incorrectly, and if you weren't raised to understand certain like cultural norms or certain things that should just be a given, then you're I mean, you're going to do things vastly different than everybody else would. I mean, I was raised with the understanding, you go on a date with a woman, you pay for things, you open the door for them, you make sure you put them on the other side of the street, so you're the one exposed to traffic. Like, it's just like things that that I learned. Pull out a chair, like all types of things. Man paying for the meal. It's just expected. I mean, when I come across people who don't know this, that's what's just kind of really, really shocking to me. Now, I'm not sitting up here saying that, the man should be paying for everything for the next 20 years. So I'm just talking about, this is the get to know you. This is the get to know you process. Now, there is also something which is an unreal expectation, which should come from a woman. Like you said, you bring your child on what? Whoa, 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 whoa. Man, it'd be one thing if our
near the man or woman you're just dating.
Right. I mean, it would be different if, during the course of our conversation, she said something like, "Oh, my child is very prominently in my life," blah, blah, blah. And the guy said something like, "Oh, I would love to meet your child." If that's something he said and he invited that, kind of interaction, then, it's a little different only because it's like you invited her to come along with you. But if you just like show up on a date and your child happens to be there, like, really? What? So you don't plan anything well in your life, do you? Yeah.
Set the
Like,
tone, skirting off.
So
I said, as soon as they come out the house, as soon as the kid come out the house with the mom, and I see that the kid is about to be loaded into my car, I got to go.
so you're just gonna so this is gonna be
And I believe him too.
the dude on the date that the woman paid for everything, except the opposite of that. You just not even about to interact with nothing she got going on because you see she trouble.
You pulled up with your kid on the first date. I got the problem with that. First of all, the baby daddy ain't got a problem with that. The mama ain't got a problem with that.
You pulled up to her house to pick her up, and the kid. Let me welcome Ty back to the live as well. But you pulled up to her house, and the kid walks out with her. You mean soon as you see that car, excuse me, soon as you see them two people walking up to the car, you just gonna ride out like you didn't see them?
I'm out. Huge red flag in my book. You already let me meet the kid. We conversation. No, I'm already meeting the kid on the first date. That's a huge red flag.
I think so. I'm
agree,
I'm trying to play devil's advocate, but I definitely don't agree with her
Again,
mentality on that at
As
all.
a single man, I don't want to meet your kid on the first date.
right, okay. Here's the only thing I would say. Like I said, the only caveat there would be if the child featured very prominently in their conversations and he said, "Oh, I'd love to meet your child," or "I think it's important that I meet your child," or whatever. I don't know. I mean,
Not on the
but
first date.
Not on the first date.
Not on the first date. That is
something
flag.
that you have to slowly incorporate your child into someone you are dating, or even if it's talking to, because like even if you go over their house for a long time, the kids should be sleeping out the way. Like you don't mix the two. You don't do that.
I wish I had that.
Huh?
I was gonna say I wish I had that video meme where the kid was it was a kid interrupting their mom and dad or something like that. It may not have been mom and dad, it might have been like boyfriend and girlfriend, and the kid had interrupted, and the dad or the guy dating just was like, "Nah, we keep on going. You should have shut the damn door and stop being so damn nosy." And I was like, is that real life? Because that typically is the average person who's in a relationship and dealing with kids. But when you dating them, that's a huge turnoff. Your kid don't know how to keep their ass in their room or stay their ass asleep.
Or pretend to be asleep.
At least, yeah,
I'm
take your motherfucking, yeah, exactly.
I'm a dog. I'm gonna keep. It ain't my kid. I'm gonna keep smashing.
What
That's
did you
mommy's
say?
job. I'm a dog. I'm gonna keep smashing. I'm dead serious.
I just want to make sure that's what I heard. That's all.
You
I'm not
heard
saying
correctly.
that.
Your kid shouldn't. You shouldn't. This is what I mean. If your girl pulls up, if you pull up on the first date and she lets you smash and the kid busts in, that's mommy's problem. That's not the nigga. That's their problem. He gonna go home at the end of the day. He ain't doing no walk of the shame. I'm being dead serious. I'm speaking from a single man's perspective. I'm being dead serious. I've kind of had that happen before. Your kid busts in. That's you got to talk to the birds and the bees to your kid, not me.
I'm glad I didn't say anything because I thought I was on mute.
No, that's funny. That's funny.
But
My guy didn't
But
even be like, "Yo, you want to give me?"
it's real though.
I agree with you. I agree. I mean,
You'd be like, "Little man, go in the other room for like 5 minutes. We'll be out there to talk to you."
I'm not talking to that little motherfucker. I'm
I
stroking him.
still,
That's
I
what I be
Don't
doing.
worry. Yeah.
still
Or
think
not even. You'd be like, "Hey, okay, little man, go outside the door, close the door. She'll be out here to talk to you in like
I'm
10 minutes.
not
And
saying little
I'll be
man
out of here."
nothing. I'm gonna keep on stroking. He might hear some that's me. He better get the hell out of here because I'm not stopping.
I'm about to mute you with these sound effects, sir.
I'm
No.
just saying, mom. But if mommy's not that smart and you don't lock your door, whose fault really is it?
Just get up and lock the door and
So,
move on, huh? So that's the way that pretty much operates.
Put
Lock
a
the
shoe
door.
behind the door, something. Make sure it's there's a barrier from little man or little girl busting in there.
I mean, if they busting in there, first of all, they don't have no respect to start out with, or they too damn
I put
little.
like booby traps all along the hallway leading to the door.
And you got to put
or
the booby
just
trap.
make sure
But if
the
the door is
child is
closed,
dead asleep.
nah, that don't work either. They wake up.
They do. You okay? Come on now. You know that as soon as a pin drop at the middle of the
Yep.
night, somebody is up. All of a sudden, you hear somebody get up, go to the bathroom, flush the toilet, and you're like, "What in the fuck? I thought they
But
was
two,
asleep."
you
And
talk
kids
to your
have a
kids
sixth
if they
sense.
old enough to talk to
Exactly.
them. You stay in your room.
Can't lock
And
your
that's
damn
gonna make
door.
them want to come. That's gonna make them want to
You could
come
lock
out
your
more.
door too. If you,
Shit.
if,
My door isn't always open.
I've said this, like I
I told my
say
daughter, I was
now.
like, "Sweetie, I got office hours.
Well, I say now I
I
have such
say,
and such.
Sign up
I
for
would
them."
say I have such and such coming over later to hang out. That's all I need to say. Like, don't come knocking on the door. Don't come nothing else
Don't
because
instantly get needy.
they're old enough to know now. But when they were little kids,
I mean, definitely,
Oh,
they're old
when they
enough.
were little
Like,
kids,
you
that
know,
was
I have
easier.
such
Just
such.
put them in a room where they can't open the door. They good.
But little kids are actually the worst. They the ones with no respect because they don't understand a closed door means don't come in.
I mean, dude, that's why, like I said, lock
Yeah,
on
I
the
mean,
inside
little
my
kids.
place, and I put them in a room door where she couldn't even reach
Give
the friggin' handle. So
give them
we're
some
good.
melatonin gummies. They ain't getting up.
Oh,
Now
I
we
have
drunken
a
the kids.
terrible
no,
story with
see,
that
we're
one.
not we're not giving we're
Now we
not giving
drunken
that
the kids.
advice. We're not giving that advice on
I
this
have a
show. No, no, no,
terrible,
no,
I have a
no.
terrible
Yeah, let's
story.
rub some Henny. Let's rub some
No,
Hennessy
no,
on
no.
their gums too.
We're not
Because
gonna do
I
that.
have I have a terrible story, which is very quick. My my girl and I, we had like these little THC gummies in the closet, and I honestly like totally forgot they were there. Our daughter is like 9 years old. She comes over and she's sitting up and she's like she decides to start like, I guess fucking with the gummy. I didn't even know. But she comes to me at one point, she's like, "Daddy, do you have any more gummy bears?" And I was like gummy bears. And I'm asking my girl, I was like, "Babe, since when we got gummy bears?" She's like, "I don't know. I was like, "Sweetie, gummy bears, what do you mean the gummy bears?" And she's like, "Yeah, they were gummy bears. I'm sorry, I had your gummy bears. It was like too loud. Can I have more?" And I was like, "Oh, gummy bears." And I was like, "Show me the gummy bears." And then she shows me this pack, and I'm like, fuck.
No.
Because no, you got to understand, it's 500 milligrams per candy.
Well, she was feeling great.
She was on 2 of them. We're talking about 1,000 milligrams right there.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting up here,
And we
dude.
don't
And
condone
we don't
giving
condone it.
any kind
We
of
do
Believe me,
not.
no.
kids
This was
We do not,
food
but
totally
we all
poisoning
know.
accidental.
or sleep.
But we don't condone it. But we all know as parents, mistakes happen. So
It
let's
happens,
not
yeah. And
condemn
no,
him.
the funny thing is, right after that moment, for like 2-3 fucking months, she would come over to the place and she'd like, Daddy, do you have any more gummy bears? And I remember I went outside and actually the middle of in between that, before I actually figured out which gummy bears she was talking about, I went downstairs with her to fucking Dwayne Reed, which was down there. And I said, let me get some gummy bears. We got some, what is it, the Golden Blossom or whatever gummy bears. She comes upstairs. She said, these aren't as good as your other gummy bears. And I'm like, what gummy bears did you have? Yeah, I'm looking around. And then finally we go to the trash and I see the little pack and I was like, get the fuck out of here. And so this girl was high off her ass for like, man, I don't know. This was like a good like maybe 5-6 hours. She had the best time of her life.
I'm gonna reiterate this. We
We do not condone.
Okay, that's
I'm
funny.
just saying this could happen.
So in
that's
the dating, in the dating context, though, not in the relationship context, none of these situations where the woman is bringing the woman is bringing her child around the guy is appropriate. We gotta comment on the YouTube video. GSU for Life says a woman should not bring a stranger around her kids. Now, at what point should she though? Because we're just talking about in the beginning of the dating phase. Yeah,
I think that bringing somebody you're dealing with around your children that's a touch and go. That's whatever you feel comfortable with. I should hope that any parent uses, I don't want to say discernment. I don't know what I want to say, but I should hope they assess the situation before they start bringing their kids around. Because there are some women and men who are careless with who they bring around their children. So let's not just say a woman should never, because some men do it too. So let's not go there. Let's be all the way real. That people need to be careful bringing their children around people they just met or somebody again, that's a touch and go subject, but first date is a no-no. Fifth date is a no-no because it's going to take a few months to really learn somebody. So let's be real.
Okay. I think when we're talking about dating expectations, what are some expectations that you think you should have on a date as opposed to ones you shouldn't have? And I'm getting to everybody's comment. I'm sorry, I just started seeing this.
Well, were you opening that question up or?
I am opening the question up. Sorry, I'm trying to multitask, but
okay, well, I would say that some pretty important things for me, like more like rules or guidelines, whatever, that I feel like is an expectation, and that comes to phones. Like, unless it's an emergency, I don't want to see you take your phone out. You take your phone out like that. Like, I've actually had it happen where I had a girl that was constantly on her phone. She smiled. I stood up and I told her, I said, I'm just going to go pay for the meal. She goes, what do you mean? I said, look, you can finish, do whatever you want. I got something to do. And she's like, what do you, I said, you seem way more interested in whatever's going on in your phone than this date. So I'm gone. Like, I did this, I paid for the meal. It's not like I got up and I paid for the meal. I said, don't worry, let her sit there as long as she wants. But the phone, took the phone out. She was on her phone probably for like 30 minutes of the date. Made eye contact with me for a couple of minutes just to order. And then when I was like, oh, I'm done, she's like, well, oh my God, no, I was having fun. I'm like, what? Yeah.
I totally agree. Totally agree. And I've done the same thing for.
Yeah, like that's one. And then the other one I would say is anything that could potentially be a deal breaker should be mentioned on the first date, straight up. I mean, if it hasn't been something you guys have already like kind of talked about, like in chats, it's one thing, but I'm talking deal breaker, like I have a kid. Deal breaker, I'm married, or was it, or deal breaker that oh, I don't want any kids. Like, if you sit up here and you guys are talking about just like these general things, do you have kids? No. Oh, do you want kids in the future? I don't feel like that's a bad first date question, because there's like there like if you don't want kids and I want kids, then that means one of us is going to be
There's no
disappointed.
need to further this
So
date. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
let me ask this question. Is the woman, is she ever at fault if she says, sometimes I have babysitter issues because I don't really have a lot of people I can rely on or that I would trust to watch
Hmm.
my child for me. So some cases I might, sorry, I just saw a comment that threw me off. So in some cases I might be either having to reschedule the date or we have to do some things where you are introduced to my child sooner than later. Is she ever at fault for saying anything like that?
No, I mean, as long as you're upfront and and it's was it and it's something that was it we can like talk about. So, for instance, you say, "Look, I'm so sorry. So and so was so sorry. I supposed to have childcare for this day. Can we do another day?" That's not a bad problem. I mean, that's not a problem. But always understand. I would like to see the same level of consideration you would give to somebody that you've known for your whole life. Like, in the sense that, like, if you're not going to make it to this date, you pretty much know that more than 10 minutes before the date. You know what I mean? That's usually something you've worked out. And if not, then that's something you poorly planned. You understand what I'm saying? Because it's like if you had to coordinate something with your child's, I don't know, daycare or parent or whatever, it's like that's something you should have known there was going to be a problem or something. You know what I mean? You shouldn't be telling someone at the very last minute. Because at the very last minute, you've kind of, I can't go and hang out with anybody else. Like, you pretty much shot my plans because I got ready doing all this for this date. And then pretty much nothing. I'm just saying, try to be respectful of other people's time. And I'm not talking like, oh, there's an expectation, going into it or anything like that. But I'm just saying that, like, if there's going to be something that could potentially like upset our timing, tell them up front. Hey, look, sometimes I have some issues with childcare, about this and the other, but we're definitely going to hang out and chill or whatever. But this day isn't going to work. I mean, that's fine. Just be upfront and honest. As long as you're honest and you try to be as forthright with people. Like, if you try to spring shit on them last minute after we've been talking for like 2-3 months, and then you tell me, oh, I have 3 kids or I have this, or then that's going to be a very weird kind of thing. So as long as you're upfront, I don't think that there's a bad like, oh, I couldn't find somebody, for childcare right now. You know, you might have to see my child, like I said, because we've been talking 2 or 3 dates, and then for whatever reason I'm getting ready to go out, and it's supposed to coincide when with your ex spouse was coming to pick up your child, and somehow he's running late, for you, or she's running late. So it's like the person's here that I'm going on the date with, but I can't leave until. So I mean, like you said, you might get introduced. There's not really a bad time as long as it doesn't just look like you didn't care and just we're just trying to throw this on me.
Okay, so expectations as far as a woman saying that she's got daycare issues. Now, what if it's the flip side? What if it's the guy who's a single parent and he's got the same kind of issues? Do you think? I wish we had more women on here to kind of give their opinion on it as well. But I wanted to
I
kind of
got something to
get
say.
who's talking. Wait a minute.
This
Okay.
time.
Okay, I got you on here. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I mean, I agree with what you're saying, and I agree with Adam. With me for one, and I explain the way my life used to roll. When I was dating 3 years ago, and your co-host can tell you, I'm one of the realest women that's out here when it comes to dating. And I used to date a few guys, keep a few in the bucket to see which one is gonna pop and make me want to make you mine. But I used to always set the expectation of how my life is set up. And I used to tell them straightforward, okay, right now, at that point in my life, I was raising them. My mother was sick, so I was taking care of a sick mother. I had a daughter that was 10, 11 at the time. I worked full time and I run my own organization. So I used to tell them, okay, Monday through Saturday, my life is straight hectic. It may be busy. My downtime where I can see you is on Sundays where I completely shut down and make time for you. Some of them, men will be like, well, I still want to see you on Saturday. I used to set the expectation up front. We can do this. However, this is what's going on my Saturday. We can go to dinner, but I got events coming up because I run an all girls dance team, ages six to 18. So my emails and phones constantly go off because I'm dealing with nothing but teens and young girls that's trying to, do different events and stuff like that. So I used to always let them know straight up front. Now my phone may ping. This is what events I'm trying to set up. So I apologize to you before we even go on our date. But this is what I'm running up against right now, and some things I just can't miss. If you don't understand that, then I'm just sorry. But
So you set the
yeah,
expectation
I set the
ahead
But
of
see,
time.
expectation
that's
from the
perfect.
jump, and I asked a lot of probing questions to that man as well. Like, are you used to dating women with kids?
With
Are you
children.
used to
Mhm.
dating, women who has a busy life? Because not all men are used to a woman that can stand on her own 2 feet.
Right.
I was just finished dating recently a guy who he wanted a woman that could completely depend on him, and I had to set the expectation to him. It's like, listen, I own 2 houses, 2 cars. I run my own business and work full time. So I don't need a man for nothing but a little companionship. So my bar is already hot. Anything than that, I'm just, testing the water to see what it is. And a lot of men don't like women that's like that either.
Right.
So
Yeah,
sometimes
absolutely.
What do you
everybody,
mean?
even men, don't like, women don't like men that's all the way, fully together. But it's all in your preference. If you're really feeling a
Well,
person, you adjust yourself completely if you're really feeling them. And I think that's what a lot of people are missing. Like, even if you're dating a person, they got a child, and their child may be at home, you're trying to sneak them over for a quick sneak link. That when you sneaking that man up for a quick sneak link, he already know the way your child is if he already been talking to you for a minute anyway. If you on the phone and you and him
right.
talk some nights and he hear your child butting in on the conversation, he already know your child is an active, active listener, active everything. So, it just goes to show is what you willing to do to be with that person and, get in where you fit in.
Right now, when we talk about and I guess because you're setting the standard up front, then this is not really the like you're not really the target audience that we're talking about because you're already saying you're setting the standards up front. You're letting them know ahead of time. This is what you're going to be getting into. Should you choose to accept it, blah blah blah. This is what you got to deal with. But we're talking about the ones say that aren't talking about it up front, like put the comment on the screen of GSU for lifetime. About a deal breaker is somebody that has SED that they can't get rid of.
Right.
You should talk about this first
I
date
see. Yeah. Yes.
because if you're talking about anything, if you have HIV or whatever kind of
Whatever it is. I mean,
autoimmune thing, you
something they
need
could
to talk
pass on to
about
me.
it. Yeah, you need
How
to
the,
talk
how the
about
hell
it.
y'all get to the first date without knowing somebody got HIV?
Well, you got to think
Uh,
about that because a
Shit.
person who has
Why
HIV
would I be
don't have
texting?
to.
Yeah.
See, you got to do your research on these STDs because a person who lives with HIV, long as they have been proactively taking meds and they're under a doctor's order in the state of North Carolina, 6 months of being undetected, you do not have to release your statistics anymore because you're completely undetected.
Wow. Okay.
So
Fuck
you
that state of
you
North Carolina. You should want to disclose that.
you're
I,
not you don't you're
that,
not giving it away anymore. So I'm not
You
gonna
How do
should
I know
want
that for
say
to
that
sure?
because
because
North Carolina has a high rate.
so
Bingo.
I'm not gonna agree to disagree because I work in the healthcare field. So I know those laws and I understand the people that's living in that life
Okay,
platform
so
if you're actively doing it. So
I got a question for you then. So if you don't agree with somebody disclosing something such as HIV, then that means you would agree with, and I'm not knocking anybody's sexuality, but you would You don't mind a gay man a transsexual that looks pretty much like a woman not disclosing that? That's wrong on both levels. That's a lie.
So let me ask this question. When we talk about the dude who threw the drink on the girl, if the context was the girl was a transvestite or a man dressing as a woman or presenting himself as a woman, do you say that that's acceptable for him to do?
I don't
If
have
he
problems with
parades himself
treating people.
around, if he or she parades himself around as a woman and does not disclose prior to a sexual act, yes, you are fucking lying. How is that any different than a lie?
But do you justify him throwing water or his drink or whatever on the woman for doing that?
No, I do not. No, I do not justify that. But no, I do not justify also having a penis and I reach down there and I'm looking for a wet vagina. That's wrong.
Right. The only problem over the top of that is, like, she doesn't deserve to have a drink thrown on her,
No,
while they're, while she's like, just get to know you, like, oh, hey, how are you? Oh, you tricked me, you're a man. Like, there's no obligation for her to just wear a sign on her face that says I'm a man. But I mean, obviously, before you engage any further, you should definitely tell them. But if it's still in that kind of respectful setting where we're just getting to know each other here, and you sit up here and tell me that you're a man, okay, then you take the L. You're like, okay, well, not for
but
me. Bye.
but my point is I don't want to get to the first date. I got you out, and I don't care where it is. We're gonna hypothetically say, and I'm not a cheap one, so I wouldn't even go to Applebee's. But I got you out of Applebee's, and then we are sitting there. We've had multiple phone conversations because for me to get you out to Applebee's, I've had 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 conversations where I'm like, I'm really feeling this person. Let me go and waste my money on them and take them out. Now all of a sudden I'm sitting here and you got the nerve to bust out and tell me right here, right now,
Yeah, what is it?
that
I
you
get what
are
you're saying there.
HIV or AIDS. That
Oh,
is a lie. You are lying to
yeah.
that person.
Well, I
You
think
lied
that
and
would be
got false
something where you'd have
pretenses.
to. I think that's something you'd have to, like, kind of bring up, which would just be general prerequisites of what agreeing to a date should be. First off, you need to know that you're in a health capacity to be able to be dating. You're in a good mental state to be dating. Like, I shouldn't be learning by first date that you have like multiple personality disorder, and this is just one of them I'm going to meet for now. Like that's some shit. Certain things that obviously would be just too much for someone to handle. You have an obligation to tell somebody that. Like,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
The mental health thing, I think that's a little bit debatable. If again they're taking the medicine, they have it under control. Why do they need to on the first date disclose that they have bipolar disorder or something
I
like that?
disagree with the mental health because if I stick
Well,
my penis
yeah,
in
that's
you,
true.
you can't give me bipolar. You can give me HIV if I stick my penis in you. I disagree with the mental health. You might not have to disclose that. I might have to find that over time. But you are not gonna not disclose a STD. That is dirty and wrong, and that's why North Carolina got high ass rates. Is because that law pretty much says I ain't got to tell you nothing.
Okay, and
So go ahead, Jay. Go ahead.
I was going to read the last comment we were filtering in before we wrap up the show. It says you can get rid of herpes, HIV, but if you take your meds, the chances of passing it are low. I think you still should tell the person so that they know and can make a decision on going any further.
Right.
I think that's fair to say.
Absolutely,
Um,
absolutely. But I don't think you can get rid of herpes. I don't think. I think that's one of those. I think that's a life
Yeah,
giver.
I don't think you can get rid of that either.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I don't know.
So I'm gonna go ahead and kind of change the direction.
Bring it back to the.
Let's bring it back. But I will say, from all this talk about disclosing one's status, expectations, or you get on this date and all of a sudden you get kind of ditched right there or dissed because you're not putting out. I do want to say that, of course, you do know that I sell bedroom candy products. So what I do want to throw in there, gentlemen, I got something for you. I said I was going to pull this out specifically for this podcast because,
Okay.
it fits in with it. So I
Okay.
do have what you call here. I'm still learning how to use a camera. There we go. The helping
Bluetooth
hand.
speaker. Oh.
Yeah, no. This is a helping hand. What this is, it kind of helps out when you kind of want to self pleasure yourself. Let's say the date didn't go right, and you
Okay.
had to leave her on the side of the curb, and you still want that special action.
Is this for real?
This is for real. This is for real. It's right here. Look, it's for real. But
God
anyway,
gave me
look it
2
up on my
hands, and
website.
God gave
Okay,
me
but
2 hands. The fuck I need an extra
sometimes
one
you
for?
need to add a little razzle dazzle to it. So
So I'm gonna
What
go.
is it?
So
What is
so
helping-
so
What
later
the
on,
hell
I'm
is
gonna
it?
go
helping hand,
razzle with the
basically,
right hand and go dazzle with the left.
what is this?
basically, it's a sleeve for the men to sit on his member.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why y'all acting funny. You know what I sell. Anyway, look it up on my website. Here it is, bedroom candy. My
It's a
link is in my
sleeve?
bio. Yes, and I'm gonna stop talking about it because apparently it's a joke, but it's on my website, and that's all I got to say for tonight.
Yeah, what a sleeve! I just,
That's all I got to say.
you.
Y'all been off
We-
the rails, and I'm trying to reel
we
it back
talked.
in, but that's all I'm gonna say
We
about
talked
that.
about it. We talked about it slightly, and I think I was half asleep when you was talking about it because I thought it was a Bluetooth
No, it's not a
speaker
Bluetooth. I said
thingy.
it wasn't a Bluetooth. Like, why would I sell a Bluetooth?
No.
Bluetooth
It
that
looks
wraps
like
around the
that.
mailman.
It looked like that. Nonetheless, guys, this is what you all can use as a helper because that's what we're talking about, the actual helping piece of it. And I want to reiterate the question on YouTube beforehand.
She needs
He
to
was
be
saying
able
that
to
you
wrap it
can't
up.
get rid of it, not that you can. So I apologize for misreading that part of it. But you can't get rid of it. So this is the thing that you need to actually say ahead of time. And now back to the wrapping up of the show, rather.
Yeah, maybe we should do
Let's go
that.
ahead and wrap up the show. Just to kind of give everybody a chance that's on the panel. If you have any kind of advertising that you want to do for your business or for whatever it is you do, feel free to do so. Brandy, go ahead and reintroduce yourself and what you have and your product line and all that kind of stuff.
Well, like I said, I am an independent bedroom candy consultant. So I do sell sex toys and makeup. So my link is in my bio. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me and I'll help you with whatever you need.
Okay. And my name is Jamie Portree. I'm owner of Dirty Words Apparel. Hats, hoodies, and tees. Get them from dirtywordapparel.com. We got them in stock for you rather. Also, the Dirty Pleasure Show is a combination of myself and Brandy of BK Pleasure Palace. And this is what we do every other Friday, 7 p.m. CST. So you can check in a week after next. So week after next is when we'll do the next show. Adam, I know from last time you didn't want to do any advertising. Are you still good on that?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. And then Set the One 101. Did you have anything you wanted to advertise or let us know about?
No, I think it's probably safer.
What do you mean by safer?
I do 420 products, so I don't know. I mean, edibles pretty much, but I don't know if that's, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how YouTube is about that.
Yeah, let's hold off on that part of it. Definitely reach out to see the one if you need the one, and then we'll go from there and leave that alone. Other than that, the Dirty Pleasure Show every other Friday, 7 p.m. CST. To 9, and we pushing it a little bit over because we started kind of fumbling early on, so we're trying to get back on track. Again, the episode is Check Please. We were talking about dating expectations, and we were talking about kind of some of the videos that we've seen over the social media network that kind of pull out different subject matter that we were talking about. And we appreciate you all for checking in, tapping in, and seeing the show. So we hope that you all have a great rest of the evening. Peace. Oh, stay